No camera found.
Weird. All right, well, I started the recording, so we can get into it.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the announcement for next week? We only have one
Yeah, that
case.
just broke my heart.
Yeah.
I was kidding.
I was so excited. It's like,
Go
yay.
Like, boy, Thanksgiving could be bad doing that second case right during the. Oh, sorry, kids.
I know. Sorry, we got to go do a case discussion. I know. I'm so glad. Yeah. Although it would have been a welcome distraction for me because my father-in-law and his new wife, they're getting married on Saturday, are coming. And it's going to be really weird because we haven't met her.
Oh, good.
And they've only known each other for like 2.5 months. So.
He's not.
Oh, wow.
He's not messing around, man.
I know. My mother-in-law passed away like 2 years ago, and he's just been like, since July, on the hunt for a new wife, and he found this one, and she agreed, and so they're getting married.
Hey.
We're like, yeah, this is really fun. And none of my like brother-in-laws can come, and I was really mad at them. I'm like, you guys cannot leave me to my like by myself, but none of them can come. So I would have liked to have met actually. So I could have gotten away from that.
That sounds like a fun Thanksgiving.
Right?
Yeah, I was looking forward to eating and coming down and trying to stay awake.
Right, I know. Tryptophan coma.
Get the freaking turkeyitis or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah, I love turkey so much. Ethan, do you have plans
for Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go back down to Burley for Thanksgiving, or not probably, but I am.
Oh, good. Is that where your family is?
Yeah, I grew up in Burley.
Oh, okay, cool. How about you, Trisha?
My family's all in town, so we're all just getting together at my sister's house.
Nice.
Big potluck thing. So, yeah.
Oh, fun. That's good.
Yep.
That's nice. All right, should we dive into this bad boy?
Yeah, buddy.
Let's dive in.
So I love Noodles and Company. It's one of my favorite places to eat.
Yeah, same here.
I've never been there. I wanted to go after I did the case this last winter semester.
Yeah. Oh, in organizational management or something?
Or
whatever.
B321 or
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that case today. Oh, it's so yummy. It's so
And there's one in Nampa, which is only, 50 miles away, 60 miles an hour.
Make a day trip and go.
Yeah, I found out there's one about 3 blocks from where I work, so I might stop by sometime this week.
Have you ever been, Trisha?
I never have.
It's so good.
It is
really good. I'll have to try it.
Some people don't like it, but I've noticed women like it more, and just like the case was pointing out, women like it more than men do.
Yeah, my husband likes it.
Which doesn't bother them at all because they normally make the decision on what we're going to eat.
Right. You should try it. If you like Alfredo, their Alfredo Montemore is so good.
I watched a few videos of the guy cooking there at Noodles and Company. Got me all excited to it.
Ooh, yeah. It's
maybe I know where I'm going for lunch tomorrow then.
Yeah, it's so good. And they have like smaller portions because the bigger portions are really big.
Yeah, the bowl I seen was like enormous.
Yeah, the small size is perfect.
So.
Cool.
Yeah, even my kids love it. It's so yummy.
Now
I might have to go there tomorrow too.
Portions a lot cheaper.
Yeah, a little bit. I like the Alfredo one that I get. The small portion is like $7.50 or something, and the large one is probably $9.
Oh, $9.
Yeah. Right, Ethan? It's not very expensive.
Just read the
I've been here plenty of times, but I don't live. I've been to Noodles and Company plenty of times, but I don't live anywhere near one, so I don't have the prices.
Yeah, it's not that expensive. For our family, like the 4 of us, when we go, and my daughter doesn't get kids' meals, and we get drinks, and I always have to get a Rice Krispie. You have to get a Rice Krispie treat because they're so good. It's like $32.
That's not bad.
No, but you have to get a Rice Krispie. Do you eat the Rice Krispies, Ethan?
I've never had one.
Oh my gosh, they're so good. I don't know what they do to them. Like they have the recipe for the Rice Krispies on their website, and I've tried remaking it, and it's never as good.
Huh.
good.
They have secret ingredients that they're keeping from you.
Probably.
Yeah,
So good.
vanilla or something.
Oh,
Vanilla Rice Krispies.
that is so smart. I'm gonna try that. I'm putting vanilla in there. So good. Okay, I'll stop like
really
raving about the
I like the structure they do.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Yeah, they did a good
It's not
job.
like they need to step in or stay in that flooded basement.
Right? I know, that was crazy. All right, so let's jump into this and just start talking about the questions. So what made Noodles and Company an attractive opportunity for Aaron in 1995?
So basically, noodles are just like a super equalizing food. Everybody eats them. All cultures eat them. They're inexpensive.
They go
It's
with
just kind of
everything.
like- yeah, it's just kind of like a win times 5.
Yeah. It's kind of like, what are we having for a side with dinner? Noodles.
Right,
And the kicker was he was one of the first to figure out the fast casual.
right.
Yeah.
And noodles would be really good for that
Mhm.
because they're not that perishable. They're easy to make.
Well, I highlighted that one that you were talking about, royalty or whatever, and the peasants. I mean, everybody ate them and liked them. I can't find it now. I should have put it on my.
What was it, Rex?
There was a line in here where they were talking about how everybody ate them, the royal, royal and peasants, and everybody seems to like them.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't find
remember
where
that
I
one.
highlighted it.
I think it's on the second page. I'm looking.
On the third page, yep. After a bit of research, I learned that noodles are the most universal
Yep.
food in the world,
Mhm.
eaten in more countries by more people than any other kind of cuisine. Noodles were comfort food and a street food eaten by emperors and peasants alike.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yep.
really good.
So I think he just liked that, you could kind of get a feeling that he was, even just reading the case study and how he's approached the business model, that he really has this desire to like bring people together. And so I think that was why Noodles kind of, got his
Yeah,
attention.
I mean, and also, it's fast casual. I mean, it's freshly prepared there.
Right.
And, where they really hit the home run was going away from those steamer trays. Holy
Right.
smokes.
Yeah.
And making it sauteed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that goes into the second question then. What caused the company's early struggles? Early struggles.
There
It
was
says lack
plenty
of
of them.
capitalization.
I was
Well, that,
kind of
and
looking
I,
for the 16 weaknesses they found. It says they found them, but all I was really finding was their 6
implementations.
Yeah, and I only listed 5. Did
I think
Oh,
one
go
of the
ahead,
early
Tricia.
struggles that they had was just that they didn't do enough market research before. They needed to get their recipes out there and have people try them.
Yep, that's what I read.
It also said that they had a lack of capitalization at the beginning and that they needed more money.
Yeah.
This guy must have been something fanatical as far as he must be a smooth talker. As much money as he raised without rounds, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, he was very passionate about it.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
what was it, 250,000 from friends and family?
Yeah, from like 23. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like, holy
Yeah.
smoke!
That's
I
the
want to
Boulder.
hang out with your buddies.
Yeah, the Boulder bubble.
Yep.
And then when I was going through all the rounds that they were doing, it still didn't sound like they were really going to any venture capitalists. They were just making it by themselves.
Yeah.
With people. Like angel investors, I guess is what you call them. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
And that last 10,000, 40% of the people were shareholders. I mean, 40% of that $10,000 for investing was current shareholders.
I know.
$10
It's
million.
crazy. Yeah.
4 million of it. Those guys just
Yeah.
keep pumping in the money. I want to meet his friends.
I know. Want to meet his friends. The other things that I wrote down, that the food, I mean, they said the food wasn't very good. Their prep lines were not, they were doing the prep lines instead of the saute. The surroundings, they needed to revamp their surroundings. And And it sounded like they were also, instead of like now, currently when you go into one of the restaurants, you order your food and then go sit down and somebody brings it to you. But I think before they changed that in the very beginning, they said that the food it was almost like you had to wait for your food at the counter and then you sat down. So I think they changed
like
that.
Steam, probably like Panda Express, where it's already made and kind of dish it up, hand it to you across the counter.
Right. So I think once they changed, so those were, you know, the first early
I
struggles.
want to say Panda Express, isn't that considered a fast casual?
Is it?
I wouldn't consider it that. It seems lower quality to me than Noodles or Zupas or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think because of the way that with the way that Noodles does it now by bringing it to you, I think that kind of elevated their, you know.
And they make it fresh. The Panda Express is already sitting there made.
Right.
And they pull out a new tray every now and then.
Right.
And you do get it at the end. It's almost like a Subway line, you know.
Yeah.
I want that and that and that, and they're just dishing it up, and then at the end, there you go.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what you would consider that. Fast food, maybe still.
Maybe, yeah, I'm not sure. Well, they reference Panda and Chipotle.
Yeah.
As like their competitors, so maybe it is fast casual.
Well, that's the only reason why I would even consider it, because it's totally different.
Yeah.
Because this is made after you order.
Right. Kind of like Smash Burger. Like Smash Burger, I would consider as a fast casual too, because they make it as you order it. Or like after you order it. And then they bring it to you when you're sitting. So I would compare.
It's made, you know, what do you want to, you're going along the line. And that's kind of what Panda Express does. But
yeah,
at the end, you get your food. When you get to the end of that little counter, you get the food. Where this, you get your little thing, you pay for it.
Right.
Say, okay, I want this added, and they add that in and they bring it.
Yeah.
So I think it's, like you said, it's higher quality
than
Panda Express. And the price is a little bit more.
Maybe they're just like subdivisions within the fast casual sector.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. Okay, so we talked about that. Then what role should franchising play in the company's growth?
Oh, goodness.
You're back, Trisha.
Is Dylan not going to make it tonight?
I don't think he is. He said he had a test to take.
Oh,
and
he's got work too.
Yeah.
Let's see. This one I'm back and forth and all around and zippy yippy. When I was running the numbers, it's like, oh my goodness, that's a lot.
Okay, can we talk about the numbers real quick? Because I was starting to work on it. How did you figure it out? Like what they would make?
Really basic calculations, because you had the numbers there. On what page was that?
Did you just use the SA, like the, I wrote down,
okay, it was on, I think, page 7. Let me make sure. Look it over. No, that's investments. Never mind. That's good. Page 9. There we go. So I was using like they expected the stores to generate 800,000. So I said, okay, let's use that as a base. Yeah, the franchise fees pretty common is 5%. But I use 5% because it's just easier. And you know, it said the profit margin or cash flow margins were 18 to 19%, grew to 23. So I said, let's just use 20% because that sounds a lot easier.
Right.
So when you do the franchise, 5% of 800,000 would give you $40,000 in revenue.
In revenue?
In revenue.
Right.
Well, for you, it'd be a royalty fees.
Right.
So if you just own the store outright, you get 20% of that revenue. That's 160,000. So I like the 50-50 split.
Yeah.
Just because of when you're starting to talk about the investments, it says to open a store is $450,000 to $500,000. And so if you do 500,000, because it's easier to figure that way, 121 stores is going to cost you 60,500,000. All 242 stores would cost you $121 million. That's a lot of cash.
Right.
I'm going through the
That
numbers
is.
saying, okay, they raised 10, they raised 5, they raised 3.2, they raised 1. 120, that seems like a lot more. We start adding all those up over a 3-year period. You know.
Yeah.
Although they keep raising more, each one they've raised more each time, you know, they doubled it. But still, even if you double it to 20,000 to 40,000 to 80,000, that's still not 100. Yeah, I guess you could if you double it 20, 40, 80. Chances are you probably wouldn't double it 40 to 80. I can see.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like the split. I think in the end, it's better to own all of them because then you don't have to worry about are the people actually following all your guidelines? Do you have to police that? You know, so your name's not drugged through the bud. You know, and you lose revenue at your corporate stores because a franchisee blew it, gone his own way.
Yeah, that's a risk. Yeah, that's a risk. So when I was doing mine, so I compared franchising versus getting a strategic partner, and when I compared those two, I came to the conclusion that franchising was a better option because I think that it would give them more control overall. Like they'd be kind of like the boss, and their franchisees would be responsible to them. Whereas like if they operated within a shopping mall or within airports or stuff like that, it'd kind of be like the other way around. Like they'd be the little guy in, you know, like serving the big guys. I don't know. I don't know if that's the correct way
I
to
just
look at
don't
it.
see them giving up 100% franchising. That would be nuts. Because so far, all 58 stores they own. And that's kind of the way they've went. And I'm not sure what they charge for a franchising fee because I didn't even factor that in.
They charge $35,000 up front.
Per each store.
Yeah.
That's cash.
That's cash into them.
Why? That must have been on a different section.
It is.
It's near the end.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't highlight that.
Yeah, but they said basically it just barely covered
Their costs. That really covers all their costs for training and all that stuff. So maybe that's why I didn't figure it in. Yeah, that's probably right. Because that's like peanuts. So, you know, I thought that was an enormous number, the $121 million. But the difference you're going to make, it would only take you like 4 years, a little over 4 years to recoup the money.
Yeah.
Per store, you know, because you got 500,000 and you're making 160,000 a store. So 4 years, you got $480,000 already. And then after that, everything's pure profit on that end.
Right. They did talk about
And the thing I like about the split is it used to be, and I'm pretty sure it still is, McDonald's, you know, they're the ever more great franchisers. They take all the premium locations in towns. Franchises get the not so premium places. Smaller. If you want to, we'll set you up here. You're going to do this much. They kind of tell you what you're going to do. They know all the numbers. And, but they'll take the premium locations and they give the franchisees the less desirable, but desirable, you know, they're just not quite as good.
But with Noodles being such a young company though, and like they're only in 2 states at this point. That allows, like, the franchising allows them to get into more states quicker.
Yep. Well, it allows them to grow quicker.
Yeah.
And, and you know, they're pretty strong on first to market. They have that kind of concept working pretty well.
So I looked at their website today to find out like what they require from franchisees. It's pretty rigid. Like they require you to have a business experience running a successful business. I mean, there's like a whole list of things.
And don't they require 3 stores too?
I can't remember.
In a block of 3? They don't want to mess with you unless you have at least 3.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think that's the current. That's not the current anymore. I don't think.
Okay.
But and like you have to have X amount of capital. I think like $500,000 for one store, and then anything over that's like over $2 million. Like they're very picky about who they allow to be a franchisee, and I think that's what they even said in the case too. Like
They want you to be serious about it.
Right.
But it's enforced that you're going to spend some time to enforce all that stuff.
Right.
I mean what they do after they do it. After you open it.
Sorry, I'm looking at their website right now, and it looks like they do require to have a minimum of 3.
Oh, they do. Okay.
But you also
Sorry.
have to minimum liquid cash or available assets of 1.5 million, and north of at least 3 million.
Yeah.
So it's 500,000 per store, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Is what they're looking at. So.
It's crazy.
So they're not taking just the normal nobodies. You got
Right. Like, hey, I think I'll start a business next week. What can I get for cheap?
Which is
Right.
smart, you know, because they want you to succeed. And if you have that much liquid cash, you're gonna, you know, if you go through rough times, you got money to pull you out until you can get back on track. Because they've built the model.
Right. And I mean, all of their stores, they initially suffer a little bit for a little while, and then they pull themselves out once they get once they start.
Now, some of the extra research I was doing, I was surprised there's no stores in Texas now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like they closed them all.
They closed all of them. They closed 5 in Austin alone.
Interesting. They just barely came to Phoenix.
2013.
They just barely came to Phoenix in the last year.
And there's only like 4 stores in Arizona.
Yeah. 2 of them are within 20 minutes of me.
So,
Yeah. They just opened within the last year, and I had it up in Utah because they've got them all over the place up there. But
yeah, see, they had one in Boise, and they closed that location and moved. They still have one in Boise, but I think they moved it, and they put one in Nampa. So there's a couple, and there's one in Idaho Falls.
mm-hmm.
So I mean, Ethan, do you know if there's one in Pocatello?
Ooh, I've never seen one.
Okay, I haven't
I know
either.
there's one in Bozeman.
Yeah, Montana, they got quite a few up there. Which, you know, kind of crazy.
It's interesting that they pulled out of Dallas or out of Texas. That's really interesting. I wonder why they did that.
I don't know.
Interesting. Well,
Maybe those stores weren't hitting the profit lines that they wanted.
yeah.
Or a franchisee had them and he decided he wasn't making it or what. But I think it was corporate. I think they were corporates in Texas.
They might have just not fit in the culture of Texas. Like Texas is a very
Barbecue and
yeah, I mean, they may just not have had
the beef.
market. Yeah.
Texas is a weird
It
place.
is. Like they're like my brother lives there now and they're like all about football and barbecue.
And you know, noodles, they don't grow them.
It may not have just worked. It just may not have worked there. So.
Well, I think it probably worked, but it just worked marginally. And why have it there when you can have it somewhere else where it's working better? And they went through, I think through the recession, they went through like a downtrend, you know, and so they closed some stores. One year they closed 55 stores.
Oh, really? Wow. That's a lot of stores. But
so they're around 500 stores, I think, if I remember in what I was reading. You know me, I love to read these things. I get too in depth in the dang things. You should see the margins of my case. It's highlighted and then off to the side. It's like, okay, this is what I circled here. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. So that's like all we have to talk about tonight. So
yeah, this is going to be a quick one.
Yeah. It's pretty straightforward.
I mean, there's not a lot of questions. I mean, the math is, I think the math, boy, I'm still bouncing back and forth. I like that hybrid 50-50, but I don't really like as much 50% as franchise. I'd rather do like a hybrid of maybe 75-50. Like you said at the time, there's a lot of premium locations, so it's not like they don't have sub locations.
Right. And the fact that that they're getting
All 242 locations would probably be pretty primo.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're getting funding like nobody's business. He can just like walk up to somebody and be like, give me $100. And they'd be like, all right.
I'm still debating. I was hoping tonight you guys would convince me which way to go. If worst comes to worst, I know if I had to just like the little question probably will be, should they franchise or should they stay 100%? If I had to go one way or the other, I would do probably the 100%, just because I know that they could get their money back in about 4 years. That's just providing they only do the 800,000 annual revenue.
For all 300 stores though?
Well, it only takes 4 years per store, roughly, a little 4 years per store.
Oh, okay. Right.
Because you're gonna have a profit of 160,000 if it takes you 500,000, but some of those stores might only cost 450,000.
Right, but they might be able to expand as fast.
Instead of 800,000 a year on the average, you might be doing $1 million, and then that means you're going to be making maybe 200,000 per store, and it'd be a lot less.
You think that they can expand? What did they want to do? They wanted to expand 32 units the rest of the year, and they wanted to go into like how many new states?
They wanted to go up to 200 stores. So they were going to expand 242 stores
with different states. Do you really think that they can do that without franchising, because they don't know the market?
I don't think that they can.
If I remember from another case that we did earlier this semester, didn't they say Noodles and Company did a franchise in 2003?
Yeah, they did. I looked it up. Yeah. They started franchising.
Yeah, so I mean the IPO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did the IPO, and that's where they raised the money. But I still think they franchised. I think they did some franchising.
They did. Hold on, let me see. When did Noodles?
But I want to say what was it? Last week or the week before? What business were they comparing their restaurant to?
They went public in 2013, so just 4 years ago.
Oh, so they only went public. What case was that they were comparing Noodles and Company going public and wondering if they should go public? What restaurant was that? If I looked at the cases,
what restaurant was it that was comparing to Noodles and Company?
Yeah, on the case that we did.
That was Zoe's Kitchen, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. I was thinking it was 2003, but it was 2013. So
yeah, 2013. So they started franchising in 2003, and then went public in 2004, 13.
I think they did a hybrid split, is what I think they did.
Probably, I would think that makes the most sense. I think for them to do.
Because if you did a 50-50 split, then you only have to come up with 60 million, and that's doable over 3 years. That's only 20 million a year. When they just raised, 5 million 1 year, and then the next year they raised 10 million. So I think they could raise to 20 million now because they got pretty good visibility. They're doing 50 million in revenue, on the 58 locations.
So at the time of the IPO, they had reached 339 locations. 51 were franchises, so only 51 of them.
Oh, so they did. So like I was saying, a lot less. Hey, there he is. How's the test?
Actually, haven't taken it yet.
Oh, goody.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Let's say it starts in about 20 minutes from now.
So, yeah, But they did do some franchising, but it doesn't sound like they did no 50-50. That's for certain.
No, yeah,
21 stores, and you're saying how many do they have now? 51?
they have
When they-
51. Okay, at the time of the IPO, they had, let's see, 51 were franchises out of the 339.
Okay. Yeah.
So what is that? 51.
Now, another thing is they could maybe buy back the store from a franchisee if the franchisee wasn't working for them.
Right.
But I still think they didn't do a whole lot of franchising.
It's like 15% of their total stores.
So did they make 300 stores by 2006? I don't know.
Okay, so let's see here. They had 37 locations in 2002, 65 in 2003, and 142 by 2007. So between 2003 and 2007, they only had 22 stores were franchises.
So they didn't hit the 300 goal by 2006.
No, they hit half of that.
So, and that was 2007 too. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, they must have went with let's do a few franchises and we'll do the rest.
Yeah,
And
they
then
didn't.
we can raise the money,
Yeah.
which those numbers are more reasonable, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, doubling your investment rounds. Yeah.
So they were, okay, so when they went, okay, the intent for public filing was confirmed with the filing of the SEC for 75 million in stock. And they had 300.4 million in revenues.
That's not bad.
And then within a day following Noodles and Company's IPO on June 27th, the stock price doubled. So
They had 340 million in revenue and 339 stores.
yeah, 300.4 million revenues and 300.
300.4.
Yeah, and 339 stores.
I just want to know what that is, if that's in the $100 per store range.
In 2017, the company planned to close 55 underperforming restaurants, but also planned to open 14 to 17 new locations. So there you go.
That's almost $900,000 per store.
In revenue?
Yeah, is what they were averaging then when they went with the 339 stores. That's not too bad. That's more than 800,000. It was 888,000, I think, per store average.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So
Doing pretty good then. Well,
it's interesting stuff. So I was right. Boy, I had that pretty much pegged.
yeah,
I was
you
thinking
did.
more 25%, 15 is even better yet for me. But I didn't think they could do the 300 stores by doing anything less than 25%. Because
Yeah.
that's a lot of cash to raise.
Yeah.
Because I just went with a 500K per store because that 450, you know, that's premium if everything goes perfect. And when's everything go perfect?
Yeah, never.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, sorry, Del. We're like done.
So,
I know,
Dal,
I'm
you wanna
so
go
sorry.
about-
As with Sam, I've been studying all.
Let's hear your answers to these questions real quick, and then we can include you in everything that we did.
Perfect. Did you guys think that they should have done the franchise?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought too. That's what they ended up doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Like here in Provo, I definitely saw one of them. And I was like,
Yeah. That's where I first ate Noodles. I was in Provo.
But we were
Yeah,
just
of course
talking
I've seen
about how
that.
they didn't do as many franchises as, you know, like a 50% or anything. They're only doing 15% of the
Yeah,
stores.
15%. Mhm.
hmm.
So what
Yeah,
made Noodles so attractive? The Kennedy.
Well, yeah, sorry again that I couldn't make it earlier.
What do you have for that?
What was that? I'm sorry.
What'd you have for what made them so attractive on question 1 to Aaron Kennedy in 1995?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Hello?
Yeah, he can't hear us. We can hear you.
Same things. It's fine.
So question 1, what made Noodles attractive?
Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Well, honestly, from the first part, I thought that it was just like their customer, like just kind of the way they ran things before they were the franchise. I like their little, what would you call it? Like their statement. I forgot what it's called, but I like the way they just ran it.
Statement, is what I would call it.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, just how
recall
they conducted themselves and the customer service with it all. I like that.
But in 1995, what made the idea attractive to him?
Can you guys
We
hear me?
went with like fast casual because that was like a new type niche. It wasn't the sit down casual dining, but it wasn't the roll up in the drive up window and get your food after you pay. They actually prepared the food after you ordered and then brought it to you. So they were making a new type of thing is what we were going with.
Okay. Sorry.
Although
couldn't
at
hear that
first I don't
part
know if
there.
they did or not. With the steamer trays, did they really have fast casual then?
I think that was the market they were trying to get into since it was a relatively new facade in the or not a new facet.
They hadn't
But-
quite perfected it at that point,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, but that's where they were aiming to get into.
I mean, but they did compare them to Panda Express, which that's the way they do it. So maybe Panda Express could be termed fast casual, sort of, kind of, maybe. Okay, so what do you have for question 2, Dallin? We'll get you all involved here. Why'd they struggle? Can't hear him now. Can you hear him, Jordan?
Mm-mm. No, I can't hear him.
I can't hear him either.
He's muted.
Oh, you can't see. My camera doesn't work, so. It's showing
I know he's showing he's muted.
It's showing he's muted.
Let me text him real quick.
All right.
Oh, wait.
Off mute.
I think we can hear no. Poor guy.
What? So much
Texting.
fun today.
You guys are good at texting after you teamed up on us.
I know, that was fun.
That was where we're at. I really like that case.
I wrote my case study as like a play-by-play of our conversation. So I was like, I don't know what you want. And luckily he gave me like full credit. He's like, because I had emailed him the week, like earlier in the week, he never got back to me because I didn't know what he wanted us to do. And so I just did, I'm like, well, I'm just going to do this. And he wrote on my comments, he's like, I really appreciated the commentary, the play-by-play. It sounds like you guys had a really good discussion.
Oh, it was fun.
I'm like, there was a lot of emotions involved. People were getting mad.
I emailed him and said, can I pick none of the options?
Oh,
Just
that's
wait.
funny.
And he's like, well, if your group agreed. And I'm like, oh, crap. So I'm emailing Ethan and Patricia saying, hey, what did we decide? Really? What?
I know. Well, that's what threw me off with the case study because he wasn't like when he answered your question, I was like, so what does that mean exactly? Are we supposed to write it? But yeah.
So I went with the one guys, but I didn't really want to go with them.
That's funny.
But my spreadsheet showed that they had, I highlighted all the key points, and
Yeah.
they had the highlighting all but one. So it's like, he said that spreadsheet, your calculations supported your case really well. It's like, thank you.
Dallin says he's sorry he needs a new computer. It keeps muting and he's not doing it.
Oh, okay. Well, shoot, I was wanting to know what his stuff was.
Tell them to send it to us in an email.
Okay.
And then that way we can each just reply email and that can be part of the conversation.
Hey, Jordan, can you send me that link that you were reading that stuff from?
It was just on Wikipedia.
Oh, it's Wikipedia?
Uh-huh.
Noodles and Company?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just. Oh, he wants to know what was the question that you guys wanted me to answer. What?
We were just doing the 4, is what I was planning on doing. Just so he didn't feel left out is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Ethan's so quiet today.
Yeah.
He's probably tracking the mouse now. Did you ever get that mouse?
Actually, sorry, since we got done with our own questions, I've been reading up on BYU's cross-country team.
Oh, those guys are amazing.
The
I
truth
know,
comes out.
They're incredible. Like, yeah, I hope that they win the national championships next
I was
week.
surprised that Northern Colorado beat them in the regionals, though.
Are they that good?
They're
They're
amazing.
ranked second. Northern Colorado's ranked first.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really
Northern
cool.
Arizona.
In the district and the WCC, when they ran the race there, Portland's the 3rd ranked team in the nation. And then one of those, I think, is San Francisco, is ranked in the top 25. BYU finished 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 9th, and 10th.
Wow.
And then they had some other runners there. They went 9 deep, and they were all in the top 15, I want to say.
Yeah, just
All
absolutely.
BYU's won.
annihilated Portland.
They just totally dominated the race.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's an exciting year.
So.
That's really cool. That's neat. All right. Well, Dallin has to go take his test, so we can
Okay.
stop.